I'm just going in as an Elaine today because I had a dress.
I love this.
And I haven't worn it yet. And there's really no costumes in this part.
Yeah, no, it was difficult. I literally, I had to borrow your husband's wings. And I don't know if this is overstepping a boundary. I am currently wearing your husband's wings.
I'm fine with that.
And I had to wear it as the Jersey Devil last night, though. So this is, and then I went, oh no, I've got ACOTAR tomorrow.
Why didn't you just ask to borrow my bat wings?
Because I already had these.
Oh.
And I had to bring them back to the studio anyway. So I was like, well, when in wings.
Yeah, I guess so, right?
Yeah,
right?
Man. Right, guys? When in wings. Everybody always says that. Also, look at how big they are.
They're very pretty.
So I just looked at what I had and just thought, what could I make? And I was like, Emery always is wearing black. She's more demure. Look at me, I'm demure right today.
You are demure.
Thank you.
I'm something.
I like your outfit.
I put it on.
I think you look like someone that's just staring out the window at her garden.
That is how I feel.
Yeah.
Currently. This wig has seen better days. I will say that. It needs a bit of attention.
That's all right. But according to the video, you look perfect.
The video?
Yeah.
All right. Sure.
Yeah, I think you look great. I mean, everyone can see my little fat sausage braid. Everybody see, I'm waggling it around.
I'm very proud of you of your first braid ever.
First braid ever. And then I realized I guess I have made a braid before because I used to make friendship bracelets. And then I just realized, oh, it's just like a regular friendship bracelet.
Wow, you really are Emery. Because remember?
Yeah.
Wait, foreshadowing. Wait, now that's not to do with oral sex.
Oh.
You don't remember what they do?
Foral shadowing.
No. There's a whole section.
I remember.
You haven't gotten there yet. I don't want to spoil the illusion, the magic.
No, the magic. Surprise, we have read these books multiple times. Surprise.
Oh, man. All right.
You feeling it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I love to hear.
You know who else is feeling it? Nesta.
She is feeling it in her legs, dog. Can you imagine how throbbing her legs are?
She wouldn't know. She can't feel a thing. She's too PO'd to feel pain.
Man, it's a beautiful little slice of life you find when you're too pissed off to feel any pain.
Put that on a wall hanging.
It would be a very large wall hanging.
Too PO'd to feel pain. That would be scary to walk into somebody's house with that on the wall.
You're just foaming at the mouth. Like, wow, do you have rabies? You might need to get that checked out. Man, I'd love to have rabies.
I'd love the idea of having rabies, but still going to the store and finding a wall hanging to express the rabies instead of going to get care.
I mean, that's what happens. A lot of us have been told we can't feel all of our feelings. So sometimes we have to get it written down on a banner of sorts.
Somebody told you can't feel your feelings?
Yes, I've been told in the past I may have too many feelings.
You don't have too many feelings. Fuck that person.
I have just enough. Well, don't worry. I'm not in a relationship with them anymore.
Oh, the person who said that? Okay.
Well, no, it's not too many feelings. The amount of feelings you have is just the right amount of feelings, especially if you learn how to properly communicate your feelings.
I guess unless you're beating, bashing in somebody's car.
I will say at the time when he said it, I had just broken something out of anger. So at the time, wasn't dealing with it properly.
All right. Well, maybe
it's been at least 10 years since I've broken something out of anger, by the way.
I think probably
broken out of anger, you say. Yeah, I am the oasis.
Ugh.
Right down, yeah. Ooh, it's a mirage, a goosh. Kss, kss, kss. Sand, sand, sand.
I don't know if that's super enticing, but... So
yeah,
what you're saying is that
it's no good.
So you're saying your crotch, it looks like a beautiful oasis from afar, and then when they get close, it's just sand. Okay, just clarifying.
Oh,
then it's too late.
So disappointed.
You've already clamped down
yeah,
your
man.
thighs.
You're already vagina dentada. Better watch out,
Let
man.
me get another spoon of this coffee in my mouth.
Oh, you can't handle this energy yet, Natalie?
I want to be there with you.
Yes, come with me and you'll see.
All right, enough of the songs. Enough of the songs.
Man,
Nesta is...
I saw a meme that said you get more flies with honey, and I thought of you.
No, good. She thought of all of you out there.
Yeah, I did. Everybody.
Every single one.
Cheers.
Cheers to that. So Nesta's fucking PO'd right now.
Mm-hmm.
That girl made it down 10,000 steps just to beat some ass.
Yeah, dude.
Now she's just learned, as you'll recall, just as a refresh, she learned that the inner circle held a vote about whether or not she is to be trusted with the information that she has created
Pissed.
a new dread trove by just forging some weapons for a couple minutes. Well, now she's too furious to even celebrate the big accomplishment of her getting down all the stairs.
Yeah, and making a new dread trove objects because
I know,
technically
right? Good for you.
pretty badass.
Pretty cool. Little scary.
Yeah, very scary. But also, like, oftentimes don't the two intertwine?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
really big spider, very badass, but I don't want to be trapped in a tunnel with it.
Yeah, it'd be cool to see it from like really far away.
Really far,
though.
with binoculars.
Yeah, it'd
really
be like,
far away.
Ah,
Wow, it looks small from
wow.
here, but I guess it's really, really, really big, big.
Oh, you're up on a mountain?
I'm on the mountain
Okay.
with my binoculars. Thank you
Got
for
it.
understanding. See, you get me. Now, it only took 47 episodes. You get me now.
Good. That was the point of all of this.
Yes.
Try to figure you out.
Was this just so the family could get closer?
Just
Is that
wanted
why
to
we've
see
done
what
this?
made you tick.
Oh my God. Now you realize it's sex.
It's mostly cups and cups of coffee.
And yeah, way too much coffee to function for most people.
Okay, so she's so mad and she doesn't even notice like all of her big accomplishments. She doesn't see the beautiful landscape of Velaris for the first time in weeks. She doesn't presumably see the people around her going like, okay, well, all right, go ahead. It's fine. Wow. That lady had somewhere to go, I guess.
Nesta yielded to her fury. Later, she would have no memory of racing up the steps to the loft. No memory of the walk over before she slammed a hand into the wooden door. It shattered beneath her palm, wards fracturing like glass.
Again, also badass.
Yeah, dude.
But
I wouldn't want to be around her and be like, I'm sorry. I think you see someone do that, you immediately say, I'm sorry.
No matter what, even if they're at fault.
Yeah, you say, I'm sorry.
I'm wrong.
Yes.
I'm so sorry my door was in the way.
That would bother you.
She's referring to the door of Amren's apartment, where we find a naked Amren riding Varian into oblivion.
Hell yeah, dude. Man, in my brain, we haven't seen Amren a lot of this book, and the entire time we're not seeing her, I imagine Varian is inside of her.
I mean, that's very believable.
Right?
These are Fae. These Fae like to fuck.
Yeah, they do. And think of how long the honeymoon phase would last in the Fae world.
Presumably hundreds of years.
Hundreds of years. Oh, man, how tiring it would be.
I mean, you have Fae energy. It's fine.
Yeah, you're right.
Though Varian immediately, when he sees Nesta barge in, puts a big water shield over the two nude bodies of them. Nesta shows no ounce of fear or embarrassment. She snarls at Amren, "How dare you vote not to tell me of my powers?"
Damn.
Amren, being Amren, doesn't balk. She just removes herself from Varian and throws a silk robe on and tells him to drop the shield. Varian leaves the room after a brief conversation between the couple, like with their eyes, essentially. And the two females engage in a bitter argument. All of Nesta's anger and sadness comes bubbling to the surface. If I were a betting man, I would guess that this news is really just an excuse for Nesta to say all of the things she wanted to say to Amren for a long time.
Yeah. I hope she wrote about it in her Fae journal, but we all know that she's not doing that.
She's not journaling.
No, she's not getting it out in a safe space.
Mm-mm. So, yeah. So, basically, immediately the barge comes up. So, for example, that. How many times have you gotten into a fight with a friend and, like, 6 things from 5 years ago comes up because you've built it up over years? You're just, like, manifesting this resentment inside. It doesn't happen to me all the time, but especially when I was younger.
Yes.
Those friendships, that would happen a lot.
Honestly, it's why we created April Reels Day, to give us a time that Holden and I have to look each other in the face. We celebrated on April 19th, and we have to look each other in the face and say things that we haven't been able to say about our professional as well as our personal relationship.
Yeah.
And it's really difficult. I dare say it's my least and favorite day of the year.
I think that's probably how that would work out.
Yeah.
Because it is, I guess, probably good to get the things out, but then to hear the things, probably hard.
Yeah, really hard. But it got me to quit smoking.
Yeah, it got you to quit smoking. So that's a big plus for my
Thank you,
book.
April Reels Day.
Yeah. But yeah, and here I think this is sort of one of those, I hate those sort of buildups personally.
Yes.
And I try my best to avoid those kind of friendships as an adult.
Yes.
But
explosive, because that's the thing. It's like, think of how many explosive friendships and relationships you had when you were younger, because like you thought that was part of like the fun of the relationship.
Yeah.
Of like being, and like, no, it's just we're passionate about each other. It's like, ooh, sometimes it crosses a line, and that happens in friendships as well.
it really does. But, this is a, very concentrated amount of time that Nesta's been dealing with this crap. And so Amren calmly, while Nesta's sort of going like, you didn't, and they're just like, all of this stuff starting to come out from Nesta. Amren calmly tells her that she displayed no reason for Amren to trust her with this information, that she's been acting like a big drunk baby.
Damn, lay it down, Amren.
She ain't wrong. Nesta lets it slip that she feels Amren chose Feyre over her.
Oh,
so
God,
we're back to this.
We're back to this. It's all about the sisters. It always goes back to the sisters.
I didn't choose anyone, you spoiled girl, Amren retorts.
Whoa.
And I mean, yeah, come on, Nesta, you're being extremely juvenile with that. She further tells Nesta that just because Feyre requested that the two of them work together, it's not some cafeteria lunch table choosing thing.
Or is it?
No, Nesta, it's not.
Oh, yeah, it's not.
As Nesta is letting all of her most petty feelings out, Amren is not babying her like Feyre would have done. Would have been like, Nesta, let's talk about this. Amren's like, no, you are acting stupid, which is why this happened.
Yeah, man, you want a bitch, you get bitched back at.
That's true.
But that's also why I think she goes to Amren.
Oh, yeah.
Because
I think that's why she misses her the most, too. Because she's not being like, oh, little poor broken Nesta, how do we deal?
She's like, man the fuck up.
Yeah.
You can do this shit. What are you doing? You're just like, it's so much weaker to act like you don't have this insane power inside of you and to not want to learn how to control it. That's weak.
Yeah, and I think Nesta, genuinely misses her.
Yeah,
Even though she could never say it.
Yeah.
I guess neither of them would say that. So basically, Amren's saying, this is not, I didn't fucking choose your sister, dumbass. When Nesta pushes back against that and reiterates that she knows that she doesn't have good feelings for Feyre, Amren says, yes, poor Nesta, with a younger sister who loves her so dearly, she's willing to do anything to get her help.
Oh,
and I mean,
damn.
It's mean, but sometimes you have to hear something mean.
Yeah.
And Nesta doesn't need coddling right now.
Nah.
I don't think.
And also, Amren's right.
Yeah.
Boo-hoo. I've got all these people that care about me.
My sister, risked her life 500 times to keep me alive. Oh,
and I've never done anything to take care of her.
It's so funny your sister's calling.
Yeah, get out of here. I know we're talking about sisters. Oh my God, was that like a sister bond? Do you think my sister knew I was talking about sisters?
Yeah,
so
she
just
got
to call me?
You tried to call you just now.
Uh-oh. I mean, we don't worry. We have had a couple of these fights in our day.
No way.
Woo. Oh man, sisters can be so brutal. Brutal in a way that, a brother and sister, Henry and I have never been that brutal to each other.
Well, I've told you I had physical fights with my brother.
Right.
But no, there's no psychological warfare.
No, but sisters, it's all psychological warfare. Even though, I love my sister, but it really is crazy. Forever, it's so hard to not constantly compare, constantly, have this of just, even though we're very different, we have very different ages. It's so crazy to me that I'm 36 years old and we'll still get into fights like this. What?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think about that when it comes to twins. Did I tell you
twins.
Yeah, man. Have I talked about twin love on here yet? I'll talk about it again.
No, it's okay. Thank you. Appreciate that.
At least the twins aren't kissing each other, you know?
They better not be.
It's different.
But Nesta doesn't want to hear any of this. She's in full self-pity mode. She continues to pretty pathetically try to explain why everyone's so against her. And Amren just keeps slapping her down.
Yeah.
Like, you're being dumb. No, what you're saying is stupid. Nesta begins to wonder if she's actually herself made any progress at all up on that mountain. Because she was feeling kind of good about herself. But now she's like hearing herself say all this stuff. And she's like, I don't even think I've improved anything.
Right.
Amren snaps that she needs to start reflecting on herself. That fucking Cassian every night isn't going to help heal her. But I say, let's give it a shot.
I mean, and also, Amren, it's not every night. So, like, she's not cleansing herself every night. Come on.
But maybe she needs to.
I
Maybe
mean,
that's what she needed.
Please, I will read it.
No, you need different kind of inner work.
Yes. Yeah.
Even as Amren is flippant, when Nesta jabs her finger out at her, just like she, whenever you're yelling at somebody and you point your finger.
Ooh, man, talk about pissing me off.
Well, not only that, but with Nesta, it means a whole thing.
Yeah, dude.
So Amren instinctively shifts out of the way of her finger, and Nesta sees it and laughs bitterly. Incredulous that Amren would think so little of her that she would think that she was marking her for death.
But also, it's not even that. And think about your perspective, Nessa. It's like, no, because you haven't learned how to control your insanely powerful powers.
Yeah. And Amren says that. She says, if you're not willing to hone and control these powers, you're basically a ticking time bomb. So you might not even mean to, but you've given me a death wish. Because you've got lasers in your fingers.
Yeah. I'm scared of you, witch. And I say that in a positive way. Nesta hissed.
You were my friend.
Amren's teeth flashed.
Was I? I don't think that you know what that word means. Oof.
Man.
That's rough. That hits Nesta hard in the good.
Oof.
It hits a tender spot in Nesta, and something that Nesta believes about herself, which is what the things always hurt the most that you are secretly always telling yourself when like a troll or somebody gets that and you're just like, oh.
Uh-huh.
Oh no.
They see
past.
They see your tender underbelly and they strike.
And they strike. I like to just pet a cute little underbelly.
Oh my god, a little pink belly.
Like on
a little pink little Carmy belly.
Yeah.
You love her belly.
She's got a cute belly. Before they can go further though, they hear footsteps and suddenly Feyre's there. She's obviously run from her art studio and is covered in paint splatters.
Oh my god, she's just like in She's All That. Do you think she takes her glasses off too?
She really does probably look just like her in She's All That.
Like, I'm in my coveralls. I'm so ugly with my glasses on.
Kiss me.
Oh, yeah. I was never... Were you ever into Freddie Prinze Jr.? And Freddie Prinze Jr. was never my thing.
Blech.
Yeah, he was never my thing. But good for them. Their marriage has lasted so long.
He's married to Sarah...
Michelle Gellar.
I almost said Jessica Parker. May, December.
But at the same time, 3 named Sarah,
The other one.
I get it.
Yeah, they've been married this whole time.
Yeah, dude.
They were married, or they were at least dating in that movie. Weirdly weird fun fact about She's All That.
Please.
Sarah Michelle Gellar appears as a background actor in the cafeteria scene, even though she was already an established actor. She just was there hanging out with Freddie Prinze Jr.
Hell yes, she just popped into the scene.
Yeah, you can see her.
That's great. Guffaw.
Yep. A fact that very few people would ever care about.
I care, Natalie. I care.
I would imagine because we did pop history and you do page 7, so you like fun facts about teen movies.
I do. I mean, that's also why John Cena was in the Barbie movie, was because he was shooting a movie on like the lot across from them, and he popped by to visit one day, and essentially Greta Gerwig was like, do you want to be in it? Like, do you want to be this like bit parted? And he's like, hell yeah, I do.
There's so few things that I think would actually be cool about being in like a top A-list celebrity. I think it would be like kind of a nightmare mostly, but that would be fun. You could just show up on set and I'll be like, just throw him a costume.
Come on, put him in there.
That'd be my favorite part of it.
Yeah. And also I love John Cena.
So Feyre shows up and she's just like, some shit's hit the fan. She tells the two of them to stop, but Nesta is still focused in on Amren. She says she trusted Amren, and Amren retorts that she stopped earning the trust when she used Amren as a sort of shield from the others.
Whoa.
Feyre steps in between them again and tells them to separate now. When she sees Feyre begin to demur to Amren, Nesta laughs bitterly. She's in full destruction mode now. She's burning things to the ground. Amren's not powerful. Don't bow down to her. Feyre angrily turns on Nesta. She says, I respect her because she's my friend.
Bam.
And that's when everything goes so fast. Is it respect that she offers you?
Nesta spat.
Is it respect that your mate offers you?
Feyre went still. Amren warned.
Don't you say one more fucking word, Nesta Archron.
Whoa, she's cutting too deep, y'all. She's cutting too deep.
No, Nesta's taking everybody down with her. In her vulnerability and sadness, her mind seems to resort to its factory settings. That is, to cut down, to slice, to push everyone away.
Burn it to the ground.
So she tells Feyre point blank, that baby you love so much is going to kill you both.
Ooh. Silence rippled through the room. The world.
Feyre is obviously shocked.
Bro, not cool.
Her voice trembles, processing this information, trying to understand how she couldn't have seen it. But Nesta isn't here to cuddle or coddle Feyre and make her feel better. No, she's used that information to hurt Amren, predominantly, probably, and also Feyre.
Yeah.
See, Feyre, your friend isn't your friend too, see? Does it feel good? It's her, like, rationalizing Nesta in her own mind. Like, it's not that I'm a piece of shit. It's that Amren is just a bad friend and you can't trust anybody. Isn't that feel good?
Right. And also, I imagine it's the opening of the door of, like, can you imagine what they say behind your back, Amren, as well? Like, it's like, oh, if everybody's talking about everybody behind their backs here.
Yeah.
And just imagine the things they're keeping from you.
So
because
sort of
you're too crazy.
Basically sowing discord amongst everyone else. Feyre begins to sob. She realizes in that moment that if she and the baby die, then the dumbest bargain ever will be fulfilled, and Rhys will also die. Oh, Feyre and Rhys, what did you fucking... What are you, 16?
I understand. You know, like, I've got, like, unpenetrable love for my husband. It's the dumbest pact to ever make, especially when you're bringing a child into this world.
Well, especially also if you're the High Lord and Lady of, like, hundreds of thousands
Somebody's
of fairies.
Somebody's gotta be in charge!
Come on, guys. What are you fucking thinking here? I guess they just could not stand to be apart for even one moment.
I get it, dude, but, like, don't make, like, a forever. Like, you can make, like, a handshake. Like, yeah, we'll both die if one of us dies.
I didn't mean to not take your hand.
Why didn't you take my hand? You don't want to die if I die? Oh, you don't want to make the bargain with me, Natalie? Natalie, make the bargain with me.
What if we say, one of us says, the other one goes like, I'll donate a charity in your name. I'll make a plaque for you.
No, the only reason why I won't ask you for the bargain, yeah, I'm going up for the hair thing instead.
Whoa, what if I had reached out and then you did that?
Yeah, that would have been really cool, but someone has to be able to take care of the girls. And by the girls, I mean Wendy and Carmi.
Dogs, yes.
So, no, one of us has to survive.
Otherwise, totally.
Yeah, no. There'll be street dogs. Lord knows. Henry will go into a tailspin and just be a hole. It would be bad. And what if we were both gone?
No!
I want that for the new year. That's my New Year's resolution.
What?
I die, you die.
No! Oh, God! How did this go so wrong? So Feyre is realizing in this moment this is what's going to happen. Nesta wants Feyre to hurt as badly as she's hurting, and she throws it in her face. Well, now even though you made this bargain, your precious mate kept this ultimate secret from you. Happy? But as Feyre's tears fall, and Nesta watches her cradle that little life growing inside of her, Nesta breaks. It's the love that Feyre's showing, not the fear emanating from Feyre that does it. And the knowing that Feyre loves her baby more than their own mother had ever loved Nesta.
Ooh, that's gotta hurt.
Suddenly, it's not like a morning radio
Yeah,
button.
that's why I wish there were. Like, I wish Feyre did have buttons. Like, every time Amren said something bitchy to Nesta, that's gotta hurt.
Suddenly, Nesta's rage and hurt is gone. Only shame and regret remain. Amren tells Nesta she hopes she's happy now. But Nesta is out of clap box. No more clap box.
What? What is that?
box.
Clop box. Oh, okay, clop box. You don't want to get clop box. There was a lot of clop box going back and forth between the two of them.
They were. Just a moment ago, Amren and Nesta were clapping at each other. But Amren says, I hope you're happy now. But Nesta doesn't feel happy. She doesn't know what to do, and so she turns and runs. We cut over to Cassian, and he is cursing himself for how he handled everything today. After everything he was at, starting with the foolish way, he brought up naming the sword to Nesta at the training ring. Like, that was pretty dumb. It's not his fault, but yeah, that was like not super subtle.
But like, we all know Cassian's not necessarily known for thinking 7 steps ahead. And you also have to remember, like, he's used to Morrigan. He's not so much used to like how I feel like Nesta's so much more sensitive than Mor is. And
make sure he should probably say that to Nesta to make her feel better.
Definitely, especially when she's upset.
It's just like you're so much more sensitive than Morgan.
Why don't you just stop being so sensitive?
Bring up being sensitive and another woman.
Yeah, all at the same time to compare against the woman that you know that he has slept with. Yeah, that'll really.
Yeah, that's a good.
That'll help you out, Cassian.
So we learn that what he did after she stormed off from the training ring earlier, that he'd let her alone, because if you remember, he knocked on her door, but she pretended to be in the bath. And so he let her go, and he took his own bath and tried to give her time to cool off. But when he returned, she was gone. He tracked her scent to the stairs and chased her all the way down the 10,000 steps.
Which is, of course, easy for him.
Yeah, he's just like, come.
Man, think of his rippling thighs.
But he goes down because he's worried she's gotten stuck somewhere or inside or has fallen in her sadness and anger.
No, she finally don't need you, Cassian. I will say that. She don't need you to come save her.
It's true. When he saw the open door at the bottom, he took to the skies looking for any sign of her. He checked the river house, and he arrived there just in time to see Rizond receiving a message down the bond from his mate.
Ooh.
He watches Rhys's face turn deadly.
Rhys's voice was a thing of nightmares, of the darkness between the stars. Cassian froze at that voice he'd so rarely heard, and never once directed at himself.
What happened? What happened?
Oh no, Rhys is real mad.
This is obviously when Feyre is telling Rhys what Nesta has told her about her fate.
Through the mate texting that they have.
Yes, the mate bond. So Rhys learns this in front of Cassian, and then Rhys tells him. And Cassian knows instantly how bad this might get. Rhys says, "Get Nesta out of this city right now."
Rhys's power rumbled in the room like a rising storm.
"Before I fucking kill her." I don't think that's hyperbole. I think that is a warning.
No, I think he really needs her to go. Which
technically
I get.
And it technically is trying to say, I don't want to kill her.
I don't want her. So you need to get her as far away from me as humanly possible. Which again, I've also been in that place with people in my life of like, if I fucking see them one more time, I'm gonna flip the fuck out. So
yeah.
I don't know if you just had flashes of faces in front of your eyes. I certainly did. Of just like I would never actually kill someone, but we know Rhys would. And especially when it comes to protecting Feyre.
Yep. I'm sure you're thinking about it right now.
I'll be cat scratching. Oh man, you don't want to get this mouth all turned up.
What's your mouth?
Yeah, man, flames come out.
Uh-oh, flames.
Flames, better watch out.
At the start of chapter 47, Cassian is spotting Nesta running through the streets. So this is when she's hightailed it out of Amren's apartment. And he imagines she knows that Rizon may very well end her life, and so she's fleeing. Technically, it's a good sign she's trying to escape instead of just waiting for night's cold kiss.
Whoa, badass way of saying it. But also, I think she knows how much trouble she's in.
Yeah. He dive bombs her and scoops her up. And she just sort of lays limp in his arms as he takes back to the skies. She doesn't ask questions at all. And Cassian doesn't provide answers.
Also, how hot is that? Like, she's like in so much turmoil and he just comes and scoops her up out of the air.
I think it would be
not hot for her right now.
I mean, yes, it would be very sexy for sure.
Right?
Yes.
And they just took to the skies.
Yeah.
Just while you're limp in his arms, just being like, I need you in a different way than I have been needing you.
I'm so heavy.
Yeah, bitch. Get it out.
So many Twilight songs would work.
Oh my God. Ugh. Especially if it were like raining. He's just like flying through the rain and he's all wet and his thighs are glistening.
All right. Is he naked?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he usually is when I'm thinking about him, even when he's flying, man. He don't give a fuck.
I don't know.
He knows
that
how hot he is.
flapping in the wind.
Woo, woo, woo. Yeah, because you know it's not hard right now, so it's just soft and just like.
Is that what you would think of?
Yeah.
All right. So he takes her way up, and all he does is fly. She doesn't ask. He doesn't tell them where they're going. All he does is fly high up over the House of Wind, and Asriel is outside. He swoops down, and wordlessly, Cassian is handed a backpack by Az. Then Cassian flies into the air once again. We cut to Nesta's mind a short time later in the day, and she and Cassian are now on a remote mountainside. It's night by now, and they were flying for hours. She's asked no questions in that time. She doesn't really care.
I imagine it's kind of like driving in a convertible when the roof is down, right?
Like, you mean all wind?
Cassian!
Oh.
I'm having a lot of feelings about what happened today!
I think you're right, but I don't think she wanted to talk. Anyway.
No.
Yeah. I think it would be hard. I would imagine. I don't know. I remember some very sexy, flirtatious scenes between Rhys and Feyre when he was flying her.
Yeah, I imagine if your like head is nuzzled up against them, you'll be able to.
Yeah, I guess also how fast you're flying.
Yeah, it depends.
You know, we need to ask some experts. Yeah. I don't know who the experts are.
John Travolta. We get a pilot in here.
Does that? But then you don't hear the air when you're in a plane.
We don't know what John Travolta does in the planes.
We need what's that called when you have the
parasailing?
Paragliding. What's the one where you jump off the mountain and you have the thing on?
Parachuting.
No.
Gliding.
Is it paragliding?
Maybe. Yeah, when you go
off the mountain.
Yeah,
we need to ask them.
Yeah, we'll ask them.
Okay.
Get one on the horn. We've got to know one, right?
Somebody get a paraglider.
Get the paragliders in here. A whole troop of them come in. Up. Like, yes. And then they take off their parachutes.
Are useful.
We're just like, oh my God, they're taking off their parachutes. What are we going to do now? Are we going to go on a flight?
Do they wear parachutes?
I would hope so.
I guess so.
What happens if the glide fails? What if there's a hole in it and it starts leaking?
I have seen a viral video of a guy who forgot to attach himself to his thing, and he's literally hanging on for like dear life while he gets back to the ground. So he's hanging off of it by his hands.
Hell no.
Yeah,
no,
scary.
I'm not a jump off a thing glide person. I'm not a jump off a bungee person. I have many friends that have jumped out of planes, and I'm just like, y'all nuts. But you know, apparently it's the rush like you've never felt before.
I love doing stuff like that, but I've never had any interest in skydiving. I would do it, but like I don't care.
Honestly, it's the landing that scares me so much.
Yeah, I actually
have just break your legs.
An area acquaintance of mine, she this year or last year almost broke her spine completely. Like she was out of commission for like 6 months.
No, thank you. I'm good. I'll go on a roller coaster. For me, like honestly, I've watched so many like top 10 deadliest roller coasters that used to be on like Travel Guide and stuff like that. So like that's where I get my nuts. My nuts are over there. I guess I meant to say my rocks off, but I said my nuts instead.
I mean, the same. I get it.
You get it.
It's the same shape.
Yeah. Thank you.
So they've landed on this mountainside, and she doesn't know where they are at all. And she's also not really, and she doesn't really care. She's beyond caring, I guess you could say. She thinks of herself how she wishes Rhys had misted her. She has the feeling, I think we can all relate to when you've done something really regrettable, or maybe like the worst thing you've ever done, and you're just like, well, my life's over. So
yeah.
For the most of us, it's usually just like a mean word or like a selfish thing you've done.
Yeah, that you think about at 2 o'clock in the morning when you're trying to go to sleep and you're like, but it's raining outside. It should just be so peaceful. But instead your brain is just awake thinking about like the one thing you said the one time.
Those sorts of things are what most of us feel. And I feel like she's just in that mindset of just being like, well, I've just completely fucked everything up.
I think I had that the only time I was ever fired. I got fired once. And I still think about that. I think every other week I think about the one time I got fired because it was the most embarrassing thing I had ever gone through.
I've been fired more than once. And yeah, it doesn't feel good. And I do think you're right. In that moment, it does feel, especially if it's like
your fault.
Well, that, and also if it's like an important thing in your life.
Yes.
Yes, you're just sort of like, I'm done. I've just ruined my entire life.
Yeah.
Which is not true, but it feels like that. So that's how she's feeling right now. And she did do something pretty bad. I will say that. Just that feeling of like, just push me over into the abyss.
Yeah,
just push me.
I'm not a person anymore. I'm made out of rocks.
Yeah.
Throw me off the side of the mountain.
Yeah. We'll camp here tonight,
he said quietly, coldly. Yeah, he's pissed too.
He's mad. She's lost Cassian.
Yeah, dude, you really fucked up.
She realizes she never wants to speak again, which is a little bit, again, childish. I'm never talking again.
Yeah.
She watches his face and notes no love or compassion on it. Most likely he's just mad and hurt. But in that moment, she's like, yeah, I mean, of course he'd hate me forever.
Yes, especially when you're already feeling that way about yourself. So you're just like, it would make sense that everybody knows what I've done. Everybody knows how badly I fucked up.
Yeah. She can't bear to look at him anymore. So she turns towards the patch of flat, dry land he's found high up on this mountain and goes to the furthest edge away from him as he begins assembling a fire. She lays in the cold dirt with her back turned to him.
She closed her eyes and willed herself to ignore the snapping and cracking of the wood as the fire consumed it. Willed herself to melt into the earth, into the mountain, and disappear. Forever.
Forever!
She's gonna disappear forever! Cassian!
It's an interesting sort of parallel, actually. This scene made me, for whatever reason, it just brought me back to the beginning of Wings and Ruin when Feyre and Lucien are trapped in the wilderness.
Oh, dude, yeah.
It's, the not speaking to each other, sort of being unwilling campmates.
Yeah.
And both times it's women who are needing to run, and both times it's the males who care about them choosing to join on the journey. I wonder if that's intentional or coincidental on the part of writing it that way.
Yeah.
But it is, there are some similarities there. We cut to Cassian's POV, and Feyre is in the midst of calling him mind to mind. We learn in his thoughts that they've flown to somewhere called the Sleeping Mountains, which...
On the map?
My pointer's gone. I'm just to try to reach.
Pointer's gone. That's our blues for today.
Okay, there's Illyrian. So we got Illyrian Mountains, and it's supposed to be the mountains that connect Velaris to Illyria.
Okay.
So, somewhere near the prison, I think.
Ooh.
Interesting.
I had to move my wings out of the way. It makes me feel cool to have to move my wings out of the way to see the map.
And you're like, oh, sorry, my wings.
Sorry, my wings.
Always,
let me just, But then I'm over here like, goosh, 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 because I'm touching my wings.
Oh, yeah, right.
So.
This is inappropriate in the office.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to everyone in the room. I'm sorry I touched my wings in front of everybody.
I guess that would be like touching your crotch.
Yeah, I guess.
Office.
But at the same time, if you got a peenie, you got to move that around, so.
You have to try to be subtle about it, though. If you were just grabbing at your peen in the office, it would be a problem.
Yeah, I think you'd get to Tubin.
Tubin?
Tubin. The guy that got caught jerking off on the Zoom call. I know nothing about anything, but I'll always remember Tubin.
Okay, I'm with you. In this conversation that Cassian and Feyre are having mind to mind, we learn that Feyre is obviously very upset that they didn't tell her the news, but she also says she understands why they didn't.
Also, I think interesting how the two sisters interact differently, or how they react differently to everybody talking about them behind their backs.
It's true.
I think that's also a huge Nesta know that she's just she's really upset, but she's not going to go destroy everything around her.
Just more reason for Nesta to hate herself, though. It
Of
is that
course,
circular,
of
like,
course.
yeah, I didn't react well, and I hate myself more for it, so I'm going to act even worse now.
Yep.
So Feyre says, she does understand, though, and she thinks that Rizond overreacted a lot of the way he basically kicks Nesta out of the city. Cassian tells her that they're all very angry with Nesta and that she only told Feyre to hurt her. Though I think she also did it to hurt Amren, personally.
Yeah, I think it was a two birds with one stone situation here.
Yeah. She wanted to ruin the other friendships.
Yeah.
Nobody can smile if I can't. Cassian allows that maybe she and Nesta, in her dark, weird way, was trying to bond with Feyre over their secrets being held over them, even though it didn't really work.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because Nesta doesn't know how to share feelings.
Right.
So she's like, I'm going to also, I want you to feel bad like me. And then that's like friendship, right?
Right? Is that what friends do? They read smut together and then they make each other feel bad.
Yeah. And Feyre chooses to believe that is maybe the case. Feyre tells him that they will get through this together, though, that she can't get freaked out about any of this for the sake of the baby, and that she will fight for the baby's health and happiness. She won't give up until the end, and Cassian is moved by this and assures her none of them will give up. Feyre tells him that Rhys kicking them out of the city was an overreaction and that they should come back home.
I would want to really make sure that he is chilled out before coming home.
I mean, the only the reason I think that he would control himself is because he is a cuck for his wife.
Yeah, he will listen to his wife. He'll definitely listen to
his
his
wife would never forgive him if he murdered her sister.
Yeah. He knows better than that. But that's why also important to get rid of her while he couldn't control himself.
For sure. And by the way, she's a cuck for him too, so it's cute.
Yeah, no, they're cucks. Yeah, they're cucks together forever.
Two cucks together forever.
Yeah, cute.
So she tells him to come back, but Cassian has other plans. Just because Feyre's forgiven Nesta doesn't mean he's happy with her. And he does think she needs something different than what she's been doing. That even though he thought maybe his penis would cure her, it's not all she needs.
No.
This kind of behavior has to stop. And while maybe that's a little bit infantilizing her, she's acting kind of like a big baby, so it's sort of fitting.
She is. She's having tantrums like a toddler has. Yes. Like, it is. I think that she's allowed to be infantilized at this point.
Right.
If you not only, like, if you're going to have these little tantrums.
Yeah, causing these kind of problems for everybody.
I have no patience for adults that have tantrums.
No.
There's no need for anyone to react like that. And I'm saying this as an adult that used to have tantrums myself. And I've worked on said tantrums so that I wouldn't be like that anymore.
Yeah, it's very hard to sympathize with somebody who behaves in that way. And so, like, technically she's very lucky that she is loved so much.
Yeah.
Because then she can have a way to, like, get stronger and better,
and that everyone has as much patience as they have had with her, because I think a lot of people wouldn't put up with that much shit.
It's how hot she is.
Yeah. Think of that ass. I mean, if Cassian can dream about that ass so hard, think of how nice that ass must be.
Ugh.
Whoa.
Juicy.
Butt.
Just a nice juicy bite.
Juicy. I bite into it like a manzana. Oh, a manzana.
Is that meat?
Apple.
Manzana? Manzana?
Yeah, I'm a little bilingual.
Oh, that's a word. I thought that was. I'm an idiot.
I pepper in my bilinguality every once in a while.
I thought that was a kind of apple because I'm dumb.
Out of the way. No,
I'm an idiot.
No, you're not dumb. How dare you speak about my sister-in-law like that?
Oh. He wants the two of them to continue to hike for a few days and tells Feyre this. Also, I think he knows his brother well enough, like you just said. Even though he apologized and Feyre would never let it happen, it's probably better for Rhys and Nesta to be apart for a couple more days.
Yeah.
He tells Feyre he's going to decide when they come back. And it's clear she then goes to consult with Rhys.
Feyre was quiet for a long minute.
He says that he knows he's supposed to say that's unnecessary, but to tell you he's secretly delighted. Cassian tells her he's secretly glad to hear that, and he's surprised to hear her laugh in response. That she can have laughter after this terrible blow, is maybe a little proof that she's not going to fall apart, that she somehow accepted it.
He didn't know why he'd expected any less of her.
Feyre tells him to take care of Nesta, and then she's gone. The next morning, Nesta is awoken by Cassian tersely offering her breakfast. She's in pain from sleeping on the hard ground and is a bit dazed. He tells her she's going to need energy, that they're going to be hiking from now at dawn until dusk.
Yeah, put her to work, Cassian. You're like, I don't know, I'm upset with you. Well, sometimes you gotta be like the Illyrians, I guess, and just work it out. Work it out.
Also, just getting some shapely thighs, I imagine, from all that.
I can't stop thinking about both of their thighs because she just went down all the steps the day previous. So both of their thighs must be quivering for each other.
That's what I thought you meant. They were cut, like muscly.
Oh, I mean, yeah. But also I'm just thinking about them grappling against each other, you know? Yeah.
Got it.
Just like the big, that like big muscle line in the thigh when it like bulges after somebody's been working out real hard. Wow.
Wow. That sounded like another radio morning button.
Whoa, buddy, cool out.
She forces the food down that he's handed her and tries desperately to ignore the crackling sounds of the logs and the fire that he's made. He informs her that she's also going to need to carry the backpack that they got from Azriel because it's too big for him with the wings.
Oh, I never thought about backpacks with wings.
I know. Well, it's pretty clear that was sort of intentional. He's like doing this sort of combination boot camp in one of those troubled teen retreats.
Which also, very impressed that Cassian and Azriel were that quick to work together to be like, all right, what are we going to do? How are we going to get her out of here? All right, we're going to go do this. I'm going to train her while also getting her out of here for a while.
Centuries of military training.
Damn, it's also so sexy. I love anyone that is able to like plan ahead. If you plan ahead, goosh. That's it. That's all I have to say.
All right. Woman of simple needs.
Yeah, right?
Despite the coldness in Cassian's voice, despite the long day ahead, she feels nothing. Nothing except an acceptance that he might very well work her to death, and she doesn't care. A little later in the morning, and Nesta is already breathing hard and getting tired. But there's nothing to distract her from this. They don't speak. She simply follows behind him. For hours they walk, and she can't decide if up or down is harder with this pack on. He mentioned that they would stop at a river midday, and she keeps her eyes on the glittery speck of it in the distance. Finally, they reach the downward slope towards the river, and there it is, sitting in a mini valley. She collapses at its bank.
It's kind of like the mirage that's in my crotch.
It's kind of like, except it was there.
Yeah, it was there. Yeah, it wasn't just sand. Well, it depends on the day, really.
Right,
it depends on what we're working with here. If if I'm greeting them after they've been hiking for hours and their thighs are glistening, then
river's right there.
Oh, river runs through it.
Cassian tells her simply she has 30 minutes to rest. There's no, are you okay? Any of that? None of it. She secretly thinks she doesn't care if she falls off the side of the mountain.
Honestly, there's nothing quite like a really good trapped in a self-depreciation pod of your own making when you're just like swallowed and consumed by it and you stop taking care of yourself and you're just like so upset with yourself. But man, she's really getting a good workout in. And that's usually not what I'm doing when I hate myself this much.
It's true. She's still getting cut.
She's getting cut.
So yeah, she's in that phase of, because sometimes you kind of want people to see how upset you are. And then other times when it's really bad, you're not even trying to show it. And it's not in that moment where he actually kind of realizes in that moment, she's like kind of wanting to unalive herself.
Spiraling.
In the moment. And so we cut over to his POV and he's kind of mulling over that he saw this expression on her face that she didn't care if she died. And he knew that she hated herself already, but didn't fully realize that she had had those kind of thoughts before. Sadly, even though this really affects him, he realizes he can't fix that for her, that she has to do it herself.
Healthy. That is a healthy way of thinking, Cassian, and thank you. Thank you, Sarah, for putting that into this book.
It's true. He takes in their surroundings as they are walking in that afternoon, and he recalls something as he's looking at this beautiful landscape that Moore had told him once about this particular mountain range.
These lands had been used for healing. That people injured in body and spirit had ventured to these hills, the lake they were now 2.5 days from reaching, to recover. Perhaps that was why he'd come. Some instinct had remembered the healing, felt this land's slumbering heart, and decided to bring Nesta here.
So it seems like there wasn't really a plan here, but that Cassian felt somehow called here subconsciously.
But he did get the backpack. So I feel like part of it, he's like, all right, I know that like we're going to be prepared no matter what to go on an excursion.
Yeah, and I think he sort of went like, I'll figure out where we're going to go.
As
but like he knows how to like survive everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's he sort of has led himself to this spot. And I know that SJM has mentioned that the mountains in this story were inspired by a real life hike that she did with her and her husband. And I was really trying to find the interview where she said it because she mentions the mountain range and I don't remember. I couldn't find it anywhere online. But she does. There is an interview where she talks about how she felt this like kind of healing thing that she did with her husband and that he just like led her the same way that Nesta is walking up the mountain. She just like followed her husband's back for days.
So do you think that he fucked it out of her against a tree?
You know,
like was that the healing?
That's
or was
the first question we'll ask her if we ever meet her.
Ooh, if we ever meet her, first question.
Let me ask you a really invasive sexual question.
But it's about your healing. Wait, Sarah, come back. No, it's about your healing.
I imagine that poor Sarah J. Maas must be, you know how a lot of times when people meet us in real life, they immediately want to talk about the worst crime they've ever heard of.
Well, I think that's you with Spun.
Spun,
I don't get it so much with Page 7.
That's
they more want to, but they do want to tell me more pop culture trivia.
See, that's great. I imagine that people overshare sexual things with SJM.
Yes.
Are
yeah,
probably
I'm sure.
inappropriate with her in public, and
yes.
you shouldn't do that.
No,
if you
don't know this person.
Don't talk about sex things with her. Just say, like, I love your book so much. You inspire me.
I mean, I might bring up a couple of sex scenes, but I would never talk about her private sex.
Well, for sure that, yes. Now, please, for the love of God.
Like, because that 7-page scene, Sarah, whoa, baby.
Woo!
Yep.
There's more than one 7-page sex scene in this book.
That's how great of a writer she is. But see, I'd be saying these things like peppered in as I'm bringing up the scenes. So hopefully I won't scare her away.
Just keep saying respectfully.
Respectfully. I respect you so much.
Respectfully, I'm so wet right now.
I'm sorry.
So yeah, if anybody remembers, leave us a comment or message the LPN stuff if you remember what interview that was in.
Yes. Because I want to go to the Healing Mountains. I say that, but as I was saying, I was like, no, you don't, Jackie. You want to sit inside of the cabin that you drive to inside of said Healing Mountains. Yes. But other than that, no, I don't want to be hiking.
You want to look at the Healing Mountains.
Yeah, I want to look at them. I'll be by a lake inside of them. What am I, Varian?
That evening, she collapses from their hike. And after kicking the backpack towards Cassian so he can get the food out of it, she passes out immediately. She wakes up in the middle of the night to find that Cassian has left her a plate of dried meat and cheeses for her dinner, hoping that she'll eat it. But she's at the point now where she doesn't even want that. She ignores it, wraps a blanket around herself, and goes back to sleep.
For the next 2 days, she stared at the back of Cassian's head. For the next 2 days, she did not speak.
So this is now, I think, day 4 or so of them doing this.
Man.
And she continues following his orders, but she's not getting better. And in fact, she's becoming even more resigned to collapsing. She's stopped eating and drinking, even though Cassian isn't really aware of that. Even to ask to stop in the middle of the day to pull out the water flask would be to remember her sense of self, and she can't bear the idea of it. So for
Man.
days, she just follows him mindlessly until she's too tired to think at night and collapses. She's hypnotically watching the back of Cassian on this day and is surprised to see him stumble after days of so much strong footing from him. Wait.
No, that was her. She was the one falling.
We cut to Cassian in the moment after this, and he's whipping his head around at the sound of rocks moving. Nesta is face down on the stone.
Man, nothing quite like when you're in the middle of falling and you're just like, no, I'm falling, no, oh no, it's gonna be bad. It just like feels like an eternity inside of your head, and then you hit the ground and you're just like, I'm too old for this shit.
I mean, just like not fainting, but you're just like when
Just
you
falling
trip,
down. Just anytime you trip, I feel like it always feels like an eternity as I'm falling down. Or maybe do I just fall down a lot? You must fall down all the time.
I do, but I will say I take pride
I
in
say that not in your everyday life. I mean because of like your like acrobatics and your stunt work.
But
and
you
things
still
like that.
fall all the
Yeah.
you fall all the time. But I will say I take pride in stunt training. You learn how to like fall well.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty good at falling.
Whoa,
without getting hurt. Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty good at not getting hurt when I fall.
Well, I am pretty bad at it. And I know that as someone that in theater, you're supposed to be trained how to properly fall. And I remember being young and being like, I'm just going to throw myself on the ground. And now I've got back problems.
Well, at least you gave people your art.
Yes. That is what I'm always saying as I'm just here sweating and wearing my brother's wings, just thinking about Gushin and mirages between my crotch, like sandpaper.
The back pain is all worth it.
It was.
Yeah, I only fainted once, and I have that. I was in high school, and I was in class, and we were waiting for the bell to ring, so we were all standing at the door, and I have such a strong memory of that last second before I blacked out.
Oh my God, were you so embarrassed?
I was embarrassed, but I was like also glad I got to go home. Like I was just like, oh, I'm sick, I can't go back to class.
Oops, can't do
but
the test.
They made me go in a wheelchair on the way, and you should never be ashamed of that. But because I was trying to always act so tough and hard, I did not like being seen
as weak.
In a way I perceived
yes,
as weak,
which is not. No.
But yeah, I'll never forget that kid reaching out. He actually, one of the kids in my class, like grabbed my sweatshirt as I was falling, so I didn't hit my head really hard on the wall.
Well, that's really nice.
Which is very nice, and I'm glad he did that.
Yeah,
and
that's very nice.
That, and I wish I remembered his name, but I don't.
Sorry.
He bolts back down to where she's laying. He's panicked at her stillness. Terrified, he gently turns her over to see. Thankfully, she's simply fainted. He breathes a sigh of relief. But he realizes that he hasn't checked on her in hours, that he's just been going, and doesn't know that she hasn't been drinking water at all until he sees how dry out her mouth is. Like Jackie's crotch. Not like Jackie's crotch.
Just like the sands of time beneath me. But I also imagine, like, how does he check how dry her mouth is just by, like, shoving his tongue in her mouth? I mean, it's dry in there.
It's written as that her mouth is crusted over with white. Because I think that's what happens when you're dehydrated.
Yeah, oh yeah, when your lips get all crusted.
I think so.
Yeah.
He pulls her into his lap, he tries to revive her and tells her to drink as he pulls the canteen out and holds it over her lips. She responds and takes the water, but as he begins asking what she thinks she's doing not drinking, she pushes herself from his lap and turns into the dirt. She's literally at rock bottom.
Oh, yeah.
Literally. Get it? Because she's on a mountain.
She's on a mountain and her ass is on the ground.
He can hardly stand the vacant look in her eyes and has to fight the instinct to hug her. But some wise old voice whispers in his ear, "Take one more mountain before you give up."
Yes!
He listens to that voice and he tells her they'll camp right where they are for the rest of the day and start the next morning. Well, 20 feet north where he spots some flat land. He tells her such, but realizes she might not have the strength to get up that 20 feet, so he returns to her and carries her, where she lays limp and silent.
But he knew it was coming, that storm. Knew that Nesta would speak again, and when she did, he'd better be ready to weather it.
The next day, they get up and continue to move. He mentions to her that they're headed towards a lake, and she's really not feeling much better, though. That evening, they're supposed to reach it.
She barely heard. One foot after another, mile after mile, up and down. The mountains watched her. The river sang to her, as if guiding her onward to that lake.
Nesta is facing these ugly thoughts she's been ignoring the last few days as they walk towards the lake, facing the fact that she was hoping to be put out of her misery.
Also, I will kind of say, when you are like in that place in your brain, the stillness inside of your brain is almost kind of welcome. You know, in between the how much you hate yourself, that the fact that she had days before, now she's really starting to like get into it. You know what I mean?
Because the last few days she's been just like
vacant.
Yeah. She just doesn't want to think. And now she's getting there, which is technically good.
It's growth. It's good.
Yeah. So she's facing these ugly thoughts. She's thinking about how she must have been born wrong. Personally, I think she was born wrong as a human, but maybe born right as a fae.
Yeah, she wasn't born that way, but she is made for fae.
Yeah. She thinks of her, quote, claws and fangs, as she puts it.
She didn't know how to fix it, how to make any of it right, how to stop being this way.
She doesn't know how to soothe her anger, doesn't know how to stop hurting people. She realizes she's just a beast like Tamlin. She can't even celebrate her own accomplishments. Her stair victory didn't even count.
Did she count? Was she worth being counted?
It's that thought that finally opens something up like a festering wound. That pain is great, but the body's begging for the relief of it. And then they're facing the lake. It's nestled in a valley between two mountain peaks.
Whoa. I'm pointing at my crotch.
Wouldn't it be your boobs?
Well, I guess these are the mountain peaks. I guess it depends on how glistening my thighs are at the time of whether... I guess I'm not usually looking at my thighs going, damn, them peaks are frosted.
I don't know how that, which part would be
I don't usually say that.
I guess
to my
your
thighs.
knees?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, isn't that cute?
It's cute. Nesta assumes that the view in front of them is beautiful, but she can't even think or see straight.
Her vision blurred, and her eyes stung as if they had been sliced, cleaved open to allow the tears to pass.
And just like tears have cleansed so many of us, they began to rain from Nesta.
Ugh, we knew it was going to have to open up at some point.
It's a lot of tears in there.
Cassian knew, she knew, it was all going to come, man. And now watch as it comes tumbling down.
She falls to her knees with that question of whether she counts. As Cassian turns towards her, she presses her hands to her face and weeps. And just like so many of us, once the dam breaks, you can't stop crying for like 3 hours.
Yeah, dude.
As sorrowful as she feels, this is technically a good sign. It's feeling. She senses Cassian crouching at her side. Nesta, he says. Please.
She said. Her first word in 5 days. I don't think I can handle going that long without talking. I can only, like, it's so loud inside of my brain, I can't imagine not squeaking it out. I know, I'm sure that we've talked about I've thought about going on silent retreats before, because apparently it's really good for you to, like, see, but in a silent retreat, you're not allowed to write, you're not allowed to read, you're not, like, you're supposed to meditate, and you are supposed to be still and to listen. And apparently it really helps with like creative flow. It helps get you more in tune with yourself. But I just don't think I can handle being quiet for that long. Like, I think I'd explode.
I think you would need to like work into it. I don't think you could go from 0 to 5 days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would be hard. I like stillness and quiet when I'm like intentionally doing it, like isolation chambery kind of things or meditation or yoga or whatever. But that's small amounts of time.
Yeah. Yeah, just for like an hour or two. Even that like is difficult for me to do because I talk aloud to myself all the time because I work by myself most of the time.
Me too.
I just look and sound like a crazy person at all times.
Oh, whatever.
But, you know, my brain likes to hear what I'm thinking on the outside. So sue me.
Well, she manages to not speak for 5 days until this moment.
Woo.
Please, she says. Instinct would suggest that she's asking for help. But what she's really asking for is for him to stop being nice to her, stop caring for her. When he asks why, all of her hatred and self-loathing and points of disgust rush over her. And it's almost as if instinct is what forms the words that come out of her mouth. She doesn't even know what she's going to say. I let him die. And there it is. At least one big core piece of Nesta released into the world. She feels shame for not saving her father.
Oh, it gives me chills. Your writing gave me chills, Natalie.
Oh, my writing.
The chills I've got right now because, everything has been pointing to this, the fact that, like, she can't even hear the snapping of the fire because it makes her think of his neck being snapped. It's like, it's all been pointing towards this, but she hasn't been able to form the words.
So
and this is what I'm talking about in, like, I do wonder if Sarah also went on a silent retreat because, like, I do wonder if she has any experience with this because the fact that, like, it's supposed to unlock so much within you.
Yeah.
The things that you're not dealing with, the things you're not processing, which is why I'm so intrigued by it.
Try the half day silent retreat first.
Just see. I've said this to my husband before, and he just laughs. He's like, you really think? He's like, honestly, I think it would be something if you got paid to do it, I think you could do it.
Oh, sure.
He's like, but I think if you had to pay a bunch of money to do it, you won't do it.
Yeah.
And he's like, not that you can't do it, I think you won't do it. And I was like, that's an interesting thing to say about me, and I don't think that you're wrong.
Here, here's middle ground. Go to a spa.
Whoa, what, for a couple of hours?
Yeah.
All right.
Do like
by myself.
Do a day spa.
Yes.
Don't speak to anybody the whole time.
Yeah, don't speak and just be nude by myself, just with a rocks glass going, and then they kick me out of the spa, and I'd be like, it's my sister-in-law's fault.
Now, that's a lot to unpack. So I'm not going to try to do any of Nesta's monologues here. I don't want to get into full crying mode. But what I do suggest is if you are so inclined to listen to the Audible book readings, the woman who plays Nesta, and I'm referring to not the cast one. I haven't listened to that one yet, the second part of the Silver Flames yet, but the Audible that's just the reader. The woman who plays Nesta absolutely crushes this scene.
Hell yeah.
It's so good. Like, she should win awards for it. And
love it.
I looked her up. Her name's Stina Nielsen. She's apparently a prolific audiobook and theater performer, and you can tell because she is so good in the scene where Nesta's like revealing all of these dark, ugly things about herself.
Listening to a really good audiobook narrator just blows up your mind because nothing is worse than a bad audiobook narrator. It really can take you out of the story.
And you're a professional.
I understand. It's very, and I'm not even saying that I'm one of the good ones. What I'm saying is that it's very difficult to do.
You are one of the good ones.
You stop.
You're very good.
Ugh. But I've definitely done parts of books before where I burst into tears at doing it, and then I had to be like, I'm sorry, can we go back and do it again? But sometimes those takes are the best.
Yeah, of course, because your emotions are coming through.
Yeah, but when you're just sitting by yourself with people staring at you, you already kind of want to burst into tears, so it's right under the surface.
So she reveals this very intimate truth about herself to Cassian, and she sobs and sobs, and she admits to him in this moment she doesn't think she's fixable. Cassian first tries to reason with her, but then knows, even though she's told him to please stop caring for her, that she needs love more than anything. He pulls her into his lap and he strokes her hair as she weeps. And when he's holding her, she reveals another big truth. Why her body tenses at fires.
Let it out, girl, let it out.
Cassian had noted it, but had never understood why. Now she tells him. And this truth seems to give her permission to herself to unleash all of it. How she failed at protecting her sisters when they became poor.
Damn.
That she should have gone over the wall in her sister's place.
Damn.
How she should have saved Elaine from the cauldron. She reveals that she hates how cruel she is, and yet she can't stop it.
Ugh.
She doesn't deserve love.
Girl, yes you do.
Cassian only holds her tighter. He delivers a monologue sharing his own highlight reel of shame and regret. Tells her that he could go into further detail about all the times he's lashed out or hurt people or felt weak. But I'm not going to tell you all of that,
he said. pressing a kiss to the top of her head. The wind seemed to pause, the sunlight on the lake brightening.
He instead tells her a simple but important truth. This too shall pass. She will get through these feelings, and she will figure out how to move forward, make things right, or at least better.
Thank you, Cassian. This is the Cassian we've needed, but also the other days were the Cassian she needed.
Oh, totally.
She needed this.
Mm-hmm. But she has to be willing to fight for that. Walk through the fire to get to the other side. But if she does it, it will get better. She pulls her head back to look at him and sees he's also tearing up, overcome with emotion for her. She tells him she doesn't know how to do this.
I love this scene.
I know. But he insists that she does. That she's truly good and she's fought so hard for so many people. And she needs to apply that passion to herself. She looks at him, realizing that this walk, these days, was not just a punishment, but was for her.
Yes! This is growth. This is the growth we've been asking for the entire book, and we had to wait a long time for it, but that's what it's like in the real world, all right? It doesn't just happen.
She needed your frosty peaks.
Yes, yo, my knees?
Yeah.
She needed my knees.
She starts to push back against this idea, noting that she's done terrible things, but he cuts her off. There's only moving forward. You can apologize to who you think needs it, but the key is to look ahead and do what you can think of to make things right again. Forgiveness begins with yourself. He cups her chin and tells her that she doesn't need to be someone else, that he loves her fire and strength, and that she's not broken.
Nesta knew he wouldn't have ever said it, but she saw it in his gaze. That she had hurt him many times. She'd known she had, but to see it again in his face. She lifted her hand to his cheek and laid it there, too drained to care about the gentleness of the touch.
And that in itself is like sort of a growth moment because
yes.
And many times she would have realized she hurt him and then shut down.
Yes.
And been like, whatever, and just like walked away.
And pushed him away.
Right. And instead she reaches for him and she shows this vulnerability, like, this is her saying, I'm sorry.
Ugh. And we know it's not just sex, Nesta. We know it's not just sex.
Oh, yeah. Please, girl.
Come on. She doesn't even get... She's too drained to care about the gentleness of the touch.
She gazes at him as the word, try, 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 try.
Whoa.
Echoes through her head.
Up on the mountain. So yeah.
She's going to try it, Steph. Got it.
Yes.
She brings her forehead to his and simply says, thank you.
And that's also a move you don't do with someone that you're just having sex with.
Forehead to forehead.
Forehead to forehead and saying thank you in such a vulnerable state.
Caressing his cheek.
Nah, you know what? I never did that with any of my fuck buddies. I tell you what.
Caress them.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I don't think a lot of caressing. I think it was a lot more grappling. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was my favorite phrase. I don't make love. I only fuck is something that I used to say regularly. Ta-da!
You're being a real
better
Nesta.
now.
You're being a Nesta.
Better now. I've worked on it.
Did you and Jeff do the mountain thing before you started dating?
I mean, we may as well have. I feel like it's like not knowing how I was ever, as an alcoholic, how I would ever date someone that didn't drink at first. Like, it was something that was like, we really had to overcome it. I didn't know. I was like, I can't date someone that doesn't drink. I can't, how do I be myself around you? And like, I really thought being my true self was drunk. And like, we had to work on that, and it took time. This is why, like, I love this book so much, because it's like, you have to believe that you're worthy of it, that you are not just a piece of trash. And you've told yourself you're a piece of trash for such a long time that, like, it's really hard to undo. And I didn't think that anyone could love me. Like, I had so many boundaries up. And now, I'm a bleeding wound.
Good.
Score. Someone sew it up. Someone make it stop.
So bad?
Yeah, I guess that's bad, but like, I live.
You live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You live.
You live.
After this moment, as she says thank you to him, we cut to Cassian. And he mulls over the shock he feels for what just went down, because he had expected Nesta to be filled with rage. He expected howling, not sobbing in regret. He's also reeling from the revelation that fires made her think of her father's neck breaking.
That's a lot.
Yeah, realizing that perhaps part of Nesta's prickliness at last year's solstice party was because she was having to listen to that fire all night.
Look at him thinking about her like this. I love this. And now thinking back and also being like, oh,
yeah.
shit.
I imagine it also makes him
Okay.
feel better too, because then he can be
Yeah.
like, okay, it wasn't simply because she was so disgusted being near me.
That she just hates fun that much. Because, like,
Right.
Cassian, can you really be with someone that hates fun?
Nah.
No, that's boring.
No. So he curses himself, though, for not figuring it out. Like, I don't know. That would be hard to understand.
Yeah. Like, usually a nice roaring fire is a nice thing. So
Right.
you're not supposed to immediately think, like, wait, is that because, like, her father's neck broke?
Right. You might think, oh, she's afraid because she got burned by fire or something.
Sure.
That makes sense. But
My wings are flapping down. Get back there. They're encroaching on my
you have to
territory.
adjust the straps.
Yeah, it's the straps. It's the straps, damn it.
There we go. He feels sorrow for her having to deal with the fires every night on this already difficult journey, but he didn't know. He realizes that there wasn't just anger under the surface of Nesta, but deep, unending sorrow and a feeling of being lost. He holds her there for hours that afternoon. After the sun sets and the moon is high,
He pressed a kiss to her head.
get up. Neither of them seem to know what will come out of Nesta next, and she simply releases from him, and they both slowly rise to standing.
Cassian drew the Illyrian blade from down his back. It gleamed with moonlight as he extended it to her, hilt first.
Take it, he says.
I thought you already gave her the sword. Come on.
This one's a little pointier, hopefully.
Whoa, don't put that in me. No, thank you.
Show me the 8-pointed star. She only looks at the sword at first, but then whatever connects her to the blade seems to spark something inside of her. His heart glows with love as she looks at him with such trust. She goes into preparatory stance on the rocky shore of the lake, and she serves.
Oh, she is serving. Each slice was perfect, like that 8-pointed star was stamped on her very heart.
This woman turned Fey was born to be a warrior, and it's clear it makes her soul sing. As she finishes his order, he sees her eyes alive and hopeful.
Such light and clarity that he could only whisper.
Again.
With a soft smile that Cassian had never seen before, standing on the moon-washed shores of the lake, Nesta began.
And that's the end of part 2, everybody.
It's so good. I love this part so much.
As I think Nesta's turned a corner.
It's just such a sensitive, vulnerable experience between the two of them, and it just makes me love their love so much more than I even did. It hurts. Leave us up on the mountain. We need time to process.
Auga!
Yeah.
That's the
all
wrong
right.
time to use that button.
Yeah, but it's fun.